Hey, what's up, you guys? Come shopping at a farmer's market hybrid with a flea market with me. I love going to different kinds of farmer's markets, especially during this time of year, because they always have so many seasonal things for like the fall, and it's just so fun seeing all the pumpkins and the pies and the fresh baked bread. What's everybody's favorite fall activity in general? Whenever I come around to this time of year, I have to go on a hayride and I have to do a haunted house. I love, love, love haunted houses, and I haven't found a good one in so long that I'm so depressed about it. Anyway, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more content like this, and also be sure to like this video and comment down below what your favorite farmer's market or flea market or anything like that is in general. Like I said, I love going to farmers markets around this time of year. It just has such a fun holiday vibe for me, and I always see like people having fresh baked bread and fresh baked pies, and my favorite pie of all time is a pumpkin pie. I just love the custardy kind of pumpkiny nature of it, and they only ever sell them around this time of year, or at least that's when I see them most of the time. So whenever I see fall, I'm just like, it's on site whenever I see a pumpkin pie or something, because I just love it so much. And I just don't get like other kinds of pies that much, because honestly, I'm not that big of a pie person in general. Like, I will eat an apple pie. I especially like an apple crumble pie, which is like an apple crumble top with a pie crust texture and just normal apple pie filling, which is really good, but I'm not like the biggest fan of blueberry pies or peach pies. I've recently come around to pecan pies, which I think are okay, but I don't like the gelatinous texture that a lot of them tend to get. It depends heavily on how you make it. So, pumpkin pie has always been that girl, and I will forever love pumpkin pie so much. I have tried sweet potato pies, and I know that this video is not about pies. I felt like going off on a tangent about pies, I guess. And sweet potato pie is not my favorite. I don't like the flavor that much. I do like yams, but sweet potato pies, I think that just mix like different kinds of baking spices and stuff in there, and it just makes it not as good to me. And the point of this entire tangent was that farmers markets tend to have people baking their own versions of these. So, like, you can obviously go to Costco, Walmart, Publix, basically any grocery store, if we're being real, and get a commercially made pie, but they just don't have like the heart and soul of this time of year. You know, you always have like the fall vibe, and those kinds of stalls and stuff, they just don't have that. So I like going to farmers markets or flea markets and seeing if people have baked goods and stuff. This stall actually did have fresh apricot jam and jellies, as well as fresh baked bread, which is just so good. I did try a sample that the lady was offering out, and it was just so good. So shout out to Pam's Creations, because you do make really good apricot jams and jellies. I didn't try her other flavors, but I'm sure that they're similarly awesome. So, if you guys have any flea markets or farmers markets near you, definitely go to them, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to find so many great baked goods, and you can swap recipes, and you can do so much different kinds of stuff there that it's actually insane. So going back to the video, I was looking at this lady's stall, and she had a bunch of different kinds of jewelry and stuff, but all of it was kind of overpriced in my opinion. So we didn't really get anything, but we were looking at it. $5 for a ring though is a little bit out of my budget for a flea market or a farmer's market in general. And this is a really cool hybrid kind of situation. So they have a bunch of different stalls selling fresh veggies, fresh fruits, different kinds of like breads and home goods, kind of like that. And And then they also have a bunch of different things that you can kind of thrift and see what kind of things that you generally want. And it's really cool because they have a kind of combination of people who are doing this as like their job, or people who are doing this just because they have a bunch of extra junk laying around the house and they want to sell it. And those are the kinds of stalls that I love, especially stalls like this that have just like a mishmash of all kinds of different junk is just so fun to see. And I always like digging through them because you tend to find a bunch of different kinds of items here that end up being really, really cool. And these kinds of stalls, you can almost always haggle, and that's my greatest pro tip for anybody who's ever going to a farmer's market or kind of like anything that's a community based market like this. Always haggle for your prices because most often the prices are taking into account like a haggle. So we kind of moved on from this part of the flea market slash farmers market, and then we were going to the other part of it, and you can see here that it was a really busy day. And I recently found out that this was the last day that this particular farmers market was actually operating, which makes me so sad because I've been going to this one ever since I was like a little child. Like my earliest memories are from when I was like 3 years old, walking down the halls of this place. And unfortunately, they got really impacted by a hurricane that blew by fairly recently, I think. So unfortunately, they did have to shut down, and it's just such a miss. But luckily, there are a bunch of different farmers markets and different places where people can sell their goods these days. The farmers market part of this flea market is always so cool. There's so many different kinds of fresh fruits and veggies, and these people are growing it like out of their own backyards or just in extra space that they have. And the foods that they're selling genuinely do taste a lot fresher. I tend to not necessarily get the baked goods unless like the stall looks like it's just, I vet it and make sure that it's good. But the veggies that I've gotten are always a 10 out of 10. I love getting eggplant and stuff from here because they're selling it for like $1 for one of those giant eggplants. And you cannot find that price literally anywhere else. I was looking at the actual like markets in my town, or my parents' town actually, and they were all selling eggplant for like $1.69 per pound, and I got a giant one for only $1. So it was awesome, and the flavor of that eggplant was superb. It was like one of the best eggplants I've ever had. And then we kind of kept moving along. I saw that there had this giant dog in a stroller that some lady was pushing around, and I just thought that was so cute. And it went one of my favorite things for whenever I go to a farmer's market or a flea market is just seeing all the different kinds of people who are there, because you can always see so much about like the heart and soul behind a community whenever you go to a flea market, because people just have all different kinds of opinions and all different kinds of ways that they're like showing up. So it's really cool. And another one was selling a bunch of actual live chicks, which I didn't know that you could do that without like a license, but that was cool. That is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.